All right, we're live in studio again on Real Talk with Ian and Ian. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family in North Carolina, the United States, all over the world. We're just so happy to come to you with another episode of Real Talk with Ian and Ian. So, we're just so excited today to have one of North Carolina. She's going to be a legend. She's on her way. She's just done so much for track and field. She is a coach. She's an official, and she's a former athlete. She have done so much for the state. So we just want to welcome her. But before we welcome her, before you hear her voice, I'm going to put you over to Ian Thomas, the health and wellness specialist. So he introduce himself, and then we will get right into it.
Well, another pleasant afternoon to all our viewers who've been so faithful over the months that we have started. And we could look forward to you guys coming on here and support. And in return, we basically bring you some of the best in terms of inspiration and a motivation, and even to educate you guys. And this afternoon, we are just blessed to have on here Mrs. Marla Lindsay. And as Ian has said, she's on her way to greatness. She's doing a lot. And this afternoon, we're just going to learn a little bit more about her. So those of you who haven't heard the name before, brace yourself in your sofa, in your chair, wherever you're watching from, and just relax and have a pleasant afternoon with us here on Ian and Ian Real Talk. So welcome, Miss Marla Lindsay. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation.
All right, guys. So, guys, as usual, the way we normally kick this platform off, we normally just go into a little bit of background information about our featured guest, just for you to know where the journey started. So as you may know that she is currently, Coach Marla is currently based in Greensboro, North Carolina, and she is, as a female coach, that is, making her marks in the coaching world. So Marla, what we're going to get into, we just want to know about a little bit about your story. Just tell us a little bit about your career in terms of your track and field career. Tell us a little bit about what event did you actually do, and what age did you actually, get the desire, that you definitely have the talent. And I know you was able to go to, get a track scholarship and go on to many things. Was a future Olympian, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Well, thank you for the introduction. Well, if you want to know about me, basically my story started at the age of 5, where I had a passion that was built in me. I think it was genetics. I was racing every boy in my neighborhood, literally. I think my cousins were profiting better than I. I would go out and race everyone, and they will give me 5 cents and they'll take the 95. But I guess that's where that hunger for competition came from. That competition was always there. I come from a family of runners and basketball players, so the genes were there. But the passion for running definitely came at a very young age, by having my family members and guys in my neighborhood. Now, mentioning no women, right? It was me at the age of 5, 6, 7, running against guys in my neighborhood, and they wanting to race me. So that's how it all started for me. I went to East Carteret High School, and I was a sprinter jumper there, and became a really good triple jumper. That was what I fell in love with. Jumping was just normal. It came natural to me. Relaying was natural to me. Great work ethic at times until the injuries were coming along. But, again, those are the stories that make you into a better coach, right? You learn from them. But I worked very hard there. I've had some good and some bad experiences, but I think it was the failures that made me into the person that I am today, because I'm way more passionate now than I was ever then.
All right, awesome, awesome. So, guys, we have one coach that was on today. She started running at the age of 7, and she was running against boys. She was beating boys.
Yeah.
Now we got another coach that started at the age of 5, and she was beating boys. So it's something about these girls when they run against boys and beat them. They turn out to be great, 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 great individual. So. So just bring us back a little bit. Just tell us a little bit about some of your accomplishments in high school. What was that like in high school? Just competing. And just anything that you could remember. I know it's a long time. But
Yes, it was. But I guess I can tell a lot of people that for me in high school, it was every practice was like competition, but then it got to a point when the injuries were happening. That's where I started to lean towards, well, I'm going to track practice. I know I'm good enough to do pretty well. I had upperclassmen that I always had to race against, or I was in the same circle, but I was the freshman and they were the senior and junior, so it was like I was the next one to come up after those two. But around that time, when I started running and I was getting really good at it, I knew I was good at it. My grandfather always reminded me each and every day, because he was one of the first African-American Marines here in North Carolina. He will tell me that, the reason why you run so fast is because I survived the war, because I ran when the bomb came. So that he always told me that every day. I had no reason to miss practice. And I did miss practice because I looked at it as competition. Only thing that resonates with me about my high school career, and I made it to states every year. Had some good experiences, had some bad experiences, but one thing that really stands out for me is the year that I could have walked away with 2 coveted awards. I would have walked away with the Women's Field Athlete of the Year as well as Track Athlete of the Year. And that was my senior year. I already had the field because I already won the long and I won the triple. But they came over to me and said, Marla, you're going to win the track, female athlete of the year. And I said, wow, that's 2, coveted awards. I want that. And it came down to the relay, the 4x2, my most favorite relay of all. And I'm the pop-off leg. And I get in the blocks and the starter is to the left of me. And I just remember him saying, runners, take your mark, get set. And I just popped out the block. And I disqualified the team. So it wasn't about me anymore. It was about I disappointed my team. And the starter looked at me and he was like, go ahead and go. And I said, no, I disqualified my team, So I did not get that award, but through that disappointment. And I would say a failure, but I'm going to also say it's a first attempt in learning, right? That I had an opportunity. I missed it, but I didn't let it stop me.
All right. Awesome. My next question before Ian take over is let's talk about your college, going to college. What was it like going to college? How heavily were you recruited, to go to the college, and what's the reason why you choose to go to the college that you went to?
Well, interesting story. I didn't want to go and run in college anymore. After running for so long, you kind of get burned out. And I think I kind of hit that, and that's something that a lot of parents need to understand, recognize burnout. But I had to go to school, and my grandfather always told me that if you're going to go to school, use your feet. They're going to give you the money. So I was recruited pretty well. But I definitely wanted to go somewhere that had my degree. So if track didn't work out for me, I was still going to get a job. That was the most important thing. So Western Carolina just stood out to me because I thought I was in trouble. I got called to the office and had an awesome phone call with him. And he said, "Do you want to come for a visit?" And I was like, "Sure." And God, my grandfather was just elated. We're going on a visit. And my first experience at Western Carolina was amazing. And technically, my grandfather committed me because I didn't even have to say anything. He was like, "Oh, you're going to Western." And I'm glad he pushed me there because I've got some amazing friends. I learned a lot of life lessons from Western. And it was the best ever. And while we was at Western, in my tenure there, we were the first female team to win Southern Conference Championship while we were there. So we won indoor and then turned around and won indoor outdoor the next year. So the rings were coming. So my old coach, Tony McKinney, said that was the start of the winning or the winning culture or the dominance in winning at Western Carolina University. And it was all because of Danny Williamson and his ability to recruit some really great athletes.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right, Ian.
Okay. As I listen in, as early as we start here, I could realize that, you have basically said a few injuries. And what I want to say, I want to just continue along that line, that injuries basically have been one of the biggest setbacks for so many athletes,
Yes.
who could have gone on to do greatness, but just a single injury could have called it career for them. In that sometimes they're not the only one who will make that decision and guess what, giving up. But sometimes, I go back, parents will help you make that decision too. In the fact that they're sending you to school, number one, for education. That's the main goal
Number
first going
one.
after school is
Yes.
education. And just to be sustaining injury and sometimes injury after injury, sometimes it gets to them even before it gets to you. And I could say similarly, when I started out, I was an athlete myself. I was recruited to go into high school to run track and field. I was like the champion boy in my area for probably 2 years. And when they seek me out and to go into high school, I actually started, but I started in a class that they were faster kids than me that who were above me. So I just needed to go through a year. But in that year that I was kind of sitting out, my coach would have introduced me to high jump. And I have basically sustained an injury where I got a hit over my eye and basically landed me in the hospital. And my mother would say, "That's it, son." It's over. So, I just want Cynthia here, just tell us of your early injury, any of the early injury that would have basically started that type of mind,
That
thinking
mindset.
in between. Is this gonna be it for me or what?
Well, me and my mother and my auntie can remember this very, very vividly. I was 8 years old, and in Carteret County, they had like this park and rec thing going on. I don't even remember what it really was, but it was like a track event in Morehead City. And only thing I wanted was these blue ribbons. I was obsessed with getting a blue ribbon. I didn't want any other color but the blue one. And don't ask me why, I just had to have the blue. And I wanted to do everything. So that day, it was a long day. And I ran, I jumped, I ran, I jumped. And I ended up spraining both of my ankles. I didn't know at the time that I had weak ankles. And I kept running even through the pain. And towards the end, I had all these blue ribbons all over me. And my mother had to pick me up, and my coach picked me up. And they took me to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Well, what happened here?" And I said, "Well, I got all blue ribbons." That was that's kind of what was the motivating factor here. I was like, I'm not going to stop because my ankles are hurting right now. I'm like, you see these blue ribbons right here? These are my accomplishments right now. So that's where I knew that, it was probably going to be the start. But that's where also back then they didn't have, rehab or things like that. You just kept running, So you just put a little wrap on your feet and keep on going. And after that, I ended up getting a knee surgery at the Tin Can at Corolina for an indoor meet in high school, which I was winning. And a girl banked down on me, and I ended up with all these stitches, and then ended up getting a knee surgery. And that's when I thought at that point, mentally, I was breaking down. Because once the injuries come, you do seem to feel like, okay, I just got to just keep going from this point, because the injuries are going to prevent me from doing anything else or even halfway meet my goals. And at that time, my goals was I wanted to be an Olympian. I really wanted to run. So after that happened to me, it's just like my mindset changed. It said, okay, well, get to college, get a degree, and get a job. But most importantly, stay healthy in the process. So the injuries kind of, in a way, kind of helped me. It built me up a lot stronger than I thought it would. The mental part of it was hard to get through, because I think about, well, what could I have done? But now that I look at it as an adult, I say, you know what? Those injuries actually helped me become a holistic coach and a holistic mother. So I don't look at it as a bad thing. I'm glad that it happened to me. It wasn't my calling at that time. Maybe God said that my calling was this, to be a mentor and to be a coach. And that's what injuries done to me. In college, I kept going, even though there was a lot of days that I did not want to go to that training room in the ice and all that good stuff. And I was very hard-headed. But at that time, injuries can cause a mental breakdown where you're just done. I had a sorority sister that was, we were going through our process, and she was doing rugby. And she said, you want to go back out there? I'll do it with you. So it's not like I didn't have a support system, because she was willing to go back out and get me in shape again so I can continue to keep running. But mentally, the injuries took a toll on me, and the love for me running and jumping was not there anymore. But it inspired something else.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question, and I think this is probably what would have make you into such a great coach, in that when you have all these challenges that you have overcome, are the route that you have taken, now that you're in the position where you're able to actually sit down with athletes, both as a mentor and as a coach, and now also as a parent, sitting down with these athletes or even your kids, how do you get them through these tough times, a time like this when they start seeing injury as a hindrance to them accomplishing the best that's within them? How do you get them through this time?
Well, a lot of times, and this goes to my coaching philosophy, is about, if you're going to be a holistic coach, then it's more than just the training program, right? So you're thinking about the athlete on and off the track. So sometimes I try to infuse what I went through and let them know that I've been there, done that, but now I know how to get you healthy, stronger, so we can have so you can continue on with your program, because no one program fits all, right? Not all of us wear the same size shoe. It's absolutely impossible. But I try to be relatable as much as possible and let people know that getting healthy, having a good mindset, going into to your practice as though it's a competition. It's not working hard. Anybody can work hard, but I want you to go into every practice thinking that it's competition. Get better, get stronger, take advantage of the prehab, take advantage of your rehab, know your body. And that's some of the things that, I don't want them walking around and saying, well, oh my God, my knees went out at the age of 12. No, you're too young for those things to happen, And so as a parent, as a teacher, as a mentor, as just period, I learned that everything happens in moderation. And what I went through as an athlete taught me that, okay, Marla, there's another way. And I would have done things differently if somebody would have taught me how to rehab better and overcome some of those mental challenges. So for me, as far as my athletes and their mental, I call them like their little mental gates, whatever, you know, they get there and they stop and they say, well, I'm hurt, so there's no way I can get past this. And I said, oh, yes, there is a way, but it takes time to get past that. And we'd sit down and I tried to encourage them to talk to me about it. Tell me why you feel that this isn't working. What do we need to do to make it work? So you have to open up that communication. In high school, when I was coaching there, it's very hard to do that to 90 plus kids, you know, because every kid has something amazing about them in their own little way. But on the college scene, it seems like I have a little bit more control of it. So I can actually talk to them and, you know, get into their brains and say, hey, what's going on? Well, coach, I didn't do well at this meet. Why didn't you do well? What went wrong? Do you know? Then they asked me, well, coach, well, what did I do wrong? And I said, well, if you don't know what happened, then I failed as a coach in teaching you. So I have to make sure that they understand what their body is doing in locomotion, just period. Just have that IQ. Just simple track IQ, understanding your body, know what your body is capable of and what limits you can get it to. And when they come to me and they say, well, coach, I didn't have a good meet today because, you know, this was happening and I felt this pull and that pull. And I said, so mentally, you were already out of the meet, you know, so to come back, what you need to do is take that meet and throw it behind you and keep moving forward. If you keep moving forward, then you're going to end up having some great successes. And I think I've seen a lot more of that than I have ever seen someone just quit. And I refuse anyone to quit.
Okay, all right. So that's on the athlete side. How about when you have to deal with a parent also? Because now it's not just the kid when you're coaching at that level, but now you're also at the college level. When you have to deal with the parents on the other side or whoever is investing in this person and education versus the track and field, how and the injury, how do you talk to the parents or whoever is in charge of that athlete?
Well, I guess I would have to just say that, you know, I have to compare this to high school track or club track. You know, club track is infused with 100 different chiefs. So those are the parents. They're telling you what they think their child can do. You know, I call them benched coaches because they're sitting here telling you what you're supposed to be doing for their child, you know. And hey, I'm a mother too, so I think I probably do that as well. But on the college side, you don't get that as much. But when I do get to have a relationship with the parent of the child that's coaching with me or under me, they understand right off the bat. I speak to them and I let them know what kind of coach I am and that I am always open to have any dialogue with you. But I'm not going to go back and forth and have this, but know this, know that. No, I'm just going to tell you, this is my philosophy. If you trust in the process, and help me help your child be the best that they can be, we'll have a great season. So that's how I deal with the parents. And I haven't had any problems, knock on wood, with parents coming after me, asking me, why is my child doing this or anything like that. It's usually, what can we do to help? Because I am being transparent. I am being open. And I let the kids know that my phone is always on. That's one thing they can count on, is that coach is always available.
There you have it. Yeah, being transparent, I think that's it. And those are the things that will separate you from other coaches. Just being real, being transparent, let them know what you're about. And, you know, once you allow the parents, I believe, to have their confidence in you as the coach, then trust me, you have a problem. And that basically speak value for you as a coach. Back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We're just gonna go straight into the coaching. You know, I might get back to a little bit of the college days, but since we're on the topic of coaching, I'm just gonna go ahead. So just let's let everybody that doesn't know you just share with us your years and experience into the coaching. Just share when did you actually get into coaching? When did that start?
Well, when I moved to New York after college, I helped up there once for one season, but I was into making, being a professional, in my career field. But I moved to Greensboro because I met my husband, and we had our first son. And then 4 years later, we were pregnant with twins. And it was a very difficult pregnancy, and they were NICU kids. And I just happened to have a friend that was one of my teammates, Rama Mateen Mason. And she called me up and she said, Marla, I need you to come and help me. And I was like, doing what? She was like, I need you to come help me coach this track team. And I said, for what? I'm like, I like watching track, I love it, but coaching, come on. But I'm glad that I did it because she opened up something to me, because I was going through postpartum, and that's something that a lot of women don't talk about. And this is something that I want more women to talk about, is what we do because we're mothers, we experience certain things. And I went through postpartum, and it was her that actually got me out there. And the kids kept me there. And I loved it. I became the coach that, just worked more than 60 hours. if use my own money. It wasn't about just me anymore. It was like, I wanted to see these kids succeed. And I love the way that kids will eat up whatever you give them. And that was what got me into it. I didn't think that coaching was going to be any more than just on the youth side, but it just started growing and manifesting into what it is now. And I love this growth that I'm going through right now. If it wasn't for that moment.
All right.
It's a beautiful moment.
All right. Awesome. So just talking about coaching and, how you got into it. So when you got into coaching now, I know that, you got that drive and the athletic, drive. Who were some of your mentors and, other coaches that you look up to that was able to inspire and educate you, and, that you could go to for suggestion and questions and things like that?
Well, being a female coach in the South is not the easiest thing to do. So you'll get probably more enemies than you would ever get, especially if you're good at what you do. So I didn't have a lot of mentors at that time when I first started out, but there was one coach, Larry Ratliff, from Southern High School. And he challenged me. He was the first coach to actually challenge me to take what he saw. And he saw something in me that I didn't know I had, that the ability to see things and apply them in a way that made sense, to correct the flaw. And he challenged me on that every time. And he made me think. And he's very much a part of that. So I ended up going into a level 1 USATF at that point. So I can learn a whole lot more, because the story, not all athletes can be coaches, right? Well, I had to make sure, was I really going to commit to this? So after I got my level 1, I was hungry at that point. It was like a hunger that you just could not fix, right? So I got my level 2 in youth specialization, and I entertained an angel. The man that was sitting next to me. Now, mind you, I'm a jumper, right? So there's Charleston Eloise, and I think we all know who this man is, from Nigeria. And I was helping him for 3 days, talking with him, eating with him. And the whole time, this is the famous Charleston Eloise, and from Nigeria, long jumper, triple jumper. Didn't get a chance to be in the Olympics because of the apartheid. His story was amazing. But, the whole time that I was with him, he never once told me these things. But after I found out, he said, "You're going to be my daughter. You're my daughter now." And he took me in, his wife took me in, and whatever I needed something, they told me, call. And they're the driving force for me. I mean, he saw Nigeria is going to be the next, place where the best jumpers are going to come from. And he wanted me to realize that dream as well. And everything that he went through was not in vain. And it was absolutely amazing to have him as my mentor. And he started it all, and the mentors just kept coming at that point. Neil Young pushed me. Pushed me hard in staying on that education. And I think I was in the third class for the level 2 use certification. And Terry Crawford said, are you dedicated enough to be a forever learner? And I'm never going to forget that. And I said to myself, I said, I'm okay with being a forever learner. So that means I have to keep going. So there's that other mentorship. It was there. My husband was a mentor because he was my support system. He had to tell me, Marla, you got to go to practice, go. Even when I didn't feel like going. He kept me moving. And I just, at that point, decided I'm just going to entertain as many people as I can, because you never know who you're going to entertain. And I found out that I knew a lot of people who were Olympians, and I was like, God, I didn't even know that. I was like, we've been friends for how long? You didn't tell me this stuff. Same thing with Ian when I met him. But I'm glad that I had those kind of encounters, that it wasn't a encounter where, oh, I know who you are and I'm gonna get your autograph or anything like that. It was just a natural relationship. And then they saw my passion, they saw my drive, and they gave me great pointers when I needed them. And I thank them so very much for giving me those nuggets that I've gotten over the years. But I also must say that the naysayers helped me too, because they made me push even harder.
All right, awesome, excellent. So this is my bonus question. In terms of this is just, I love to ask former coach, like current coaches that being former athlete. This is one of my favorite questions. How being an athlete make you a better coach? What would you say, you being an athlete, how would you say that make you a better coach?
The love and the integrity that I learned from the experiences that I had as an athlete.
All right.
That's
awesome.
so some people will call it passion. I was told that passion shouldn't be used, but you can't remove that word. That's, in a nutshell, that's what it was. It was the love of the sport, the love of competition, and it tells my story.
All right. 100% agree. I am a level 1 certified coach. I'm not, on the journey of becoming like a college coach or anything. But I do, I feel like even as a athlete representative, just being able to be knowledgeable as a coach, that makes me a better agent, because I could give better advice. And there's other organization like my church that I wanted to share my experiences. So just being certified too, that will help me be a better instructor. So yeah, so I know the value of those programs, being level 1, level 2, level 3. I know that's very excellent. All right, over to you, Ian.
Okay, Marla, as I listen to you, not sure if you realize, but I'm a nurse. So once it comes on to kids and people on a whole, I'm just that caring person. And I could not overlook um, what you said earlier, in that your kids were in the NICU. And I want you to basically talk into the life of the parents who have to deal with kids inside of the NICU, because many people, they don't understand. They just hear that, oh, your kid is in the NICU. But as a nurse, I really had feared working in OB or anything. But just before the birth of my kids, they would have sent me over to NICU to to basically help out like a floating nurse. And just the experience of being there with so many kids in these little incubators, just fighting for their life, and just to see a mother as they hover over, just like they want to take their life and put into a child. or it's like you want to hold that child, but you can't touch that child. You know, what could you just talk to us about that experience of you just being the difficulty, you know, with being a mom that have a child that's in NICU?
They try to come early. I was told early that they were going to die, or I wasn't going to carry them full term. I was told very early. I told my husband, do whatever you have to do to make sure that they get here. So my mindset was, doctors are not the final say. The final say is him upstairs. So do whatever you need to do to me right now. It was basically my friends. Facebook was just now getting really big, and my family is 5.5 hours away. And Facebook became a way for me to talk to my friends and like, I cannot have these babies die. It was not going to happen. When we went in for the last time, I was supposed to be in the hospital for 3 months at that point. They came a lot earlier, so we knew we were going straight to the NICU. That was a difficult time for me because I was willing to, even though I had a C-section, I was willing to walk to the hospital every day if I had to, in pain or whatever. It didn't matter. I just felt like I had to be there with my kids. I've seen kids die in the NICU that was in our pod. I've seen some that prospered very well, and I was just ready to bring my 2 babies home. It's a little hard to talk about it, but
I know.
But to look at them now, you wouldn't think it. I just remember the first time I held my daughter. Well, I didn't get to hold my daughter, but we got to see her. And my husband brought her over to me, but I couldn't see my son because his lung collapsed. And they took him straight to the NICU. And I said, you go, leave. You know, I told my husband, leave me, go follow our son. And when I finally got to see him, he was inside of the chrysalis, and he had all these things on him. And I just put my finger in there, and he kind of put his hand on mine like that. And I was like, you're a champ. And I said, and you're going to get through this because we're going to do this together. And he's just that. He's been thriving ever since. And his sister, even though she was the stronger of the 2, she kept her eye on him the entire time. The nurses used to tell me, oh, Miss Lindsay, you got to get down here and watch Christina. She's not going to let us touch Christian, because she would like go off if she see anybody touching him. And I think that's what they had in the beginning. And they still like that now. I mean, they'll have their little quarrels or whatever, but if Christina is running a race, Christian will slow down so his sister can beat him, or he will have her stretch and he'll count while she's stretching to get ready for a meet. It's absolutely amazing to see. But that NICU experience, I never want to experience it again, but I was one of the lucky ones. My kids got to come home. There was a lot of kids that did not get to go home. And I saw a lot of parents that didn't get to take their children home. And I just pray for those people and those who are going through it now. I mean, but it made me stronger as a mother and made me push harder so they can have something to say, hey, we went through this, my mom went through this, but look what she's doing. So that's when everything just started to change for me, going through that postpartum. And to say it, I'm okay with it, because you go through it. You know, I had to go through that part of my life where it just felt like everything was wrong. What was wrong with this vessel that God made, that I could not get these kids to full term? But I did a hell of a job with them now. And if you see them now, you would not think that they were NIC babies. So they're my biggest accomplishment, and my son, of course, but to see what they went through and how we got through it as a family made me a much stronger person and made me think about life differently. And it definitely grew another branch in my life. You know, I'm a firm believer, if you plant a seed it grows into a mighty beautiful tree, right? But I don't see the tree and look at the apple and say, oh, look at the apple on the tree. I look at the apple inside. It's like if you was to open up an apple, I look at the seed in the apple and I see the tree there. And it all starts with that seed. So if we plant good seeds and a great foundation, then everything is going to be just fine. And that's my belief system. And coming out of NICU made me stronger, but it also made me weak as well. But I'm glad that I got over it and overcame that experience. And so I'm open to talking to any woman that has been in that situation. And if they want to talk about it, and heck, I cry about it still. But it was a hard experience for me. Very hard.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing there. And for all the viewers that is watching right now, I just want to say that, as a nurse, so I'm there. I've seen it. I've seen what the parents go through, that mother go through, that father, sleepless night, because they can't sleep. It's the hardest thing to leave that child there and think they're going home to sleep. You see them the next day, just like for me, I've not slept. My eyes are red. You can see that they're tired, but with every bit of energy in their body, they're bringing it over that baby. And I think some of these parents, they speak life into that child.
They do.
When that child is laying there, and the doctors, as you say, I'm happy that you did not take those diagnoses that you would not be able to bring forth your kids. Because with that, I have seen people do it over and over. Speak life into that child, and I love your faith that you believe. Similar situation would have happened to us. My wife and I, we've been together for over 25 years. From high school lover, sweetheart, through marriage for 20 plus years. And doctors have told us we'll never have kids. Based on what was going on with my wife. Then later on, with what's going on with me, they will give her all these diagnoses from cyst, fibroid, PCOS. Later on, I'll have low sperm count. But it was like almost impossible based on their diagnosis. But we did not believe their report. We believed the report of the Lord, and the Lord promised us kids. And from not being able to have a child, we have kids now. So for the parents who are listening, I just want to say that, guess what? Belief and having faith in a true and living God is very important, despite those diagnoses that they want to give you. Because you could have taken it, and just by going into that depression and down stage, that child would not have that fighting ability. But while you fight, that child will fight with you. While you live, that child is going to live along. So it's like, we may not understand it, but speaking from a nurse, this is touching for me. I definitely see what happened there, and those parents, I give it up to them. And those, as you say, who are not able to walk out with that child, we grieve with you, we mourn with you, but just know that God is still gonna come true for you at the end of it. And another, I won't let you leave here without talking again to the parents again with the postpartum depression, because people just hear about these things and they think it's nothing. But when you have a mother who have had a child, and especially with you going through what you're going through, I could see where you're coming from. But some people did not even go through that, but just by just bringing forth a child in this world, all of a sudden they're going through postpartum depression, and you can't believe that that person that you knew is operating this way, is a total changed person. But I say postpartum depression is real, and I don't know if you're able to talk to our mothers out there, or just to even the fathers, because we need to know what the parents and terms of the mother, what they go through to bring forth a child, and the support they need after they have bring forth that child. So I don't know if you could speak into the postpartum depression.
It takes a village. If you don't have a good village, then you can't raise a child, right? And that village doesn't have to consist of your blood relatives. It can be your friends. It can be your sorority sisters, or it can be a combination of people. But I was lucky because I had a good tribe. And when I saw something was wrong, and I was trying to, I was a part of an organization for mothers that stayed home with their kids. And I had people coming to me saying, well, you need to go back to work. I'm not taking no, my babies are coming home. How are you going to tell me to go back to work in 6 months or 6 weeks? You know, it was absolutely ridiculous. So I tried to do everything by myself, and you can't do that. And that's when I knew that postpartum was really getting to me, because I tried to do everything myself. I felt like a failure. Again, see where we talk about, we went right back to that word failure. But again, that was my first attempt in learning that I am a good mother. I am a vessel of God. So I know I brought forth 2 good seeds. So I have to be good. I have to be ready for them and help them to grow. So postpartum was hard. But getting back into my passion of track and field as a coach and watching little kids out there doing stuff, and when my kids started walking and I was like, oh my God, my daughter's going to be a hurdler. Look at her. Did you see that? Did you see the snap over right there? It's like those kind of moments. It took me out of that moment. You know, I no longer felt like I was failing my kids. I felt like I overcame something. It took time. Now, it's not going to happen overnight. And if people think it's going to happen overnight, I'm sad to say it's not. But I do ask every mother out there or every parent out there just to be mindful of what happens when you do experience postpartum. That take time for yourself, know that it's not your fault, and you raise your children. You keep them healthy. You do what you're supposed to do. And despite what society tells you that you have to go back to work and you got to do this, why don't you buy this and buy that? It's not about what you think. It's about what I am providing for mine. So that's the mindset that me and my husband had for ourselves. We didn't care what anybody thought. You can choose to help us or not. Just how it was for us. And we prospered. And we had, like, again, that village I talked about. They helped me out a lot. And again, going back to Rama Mateen, she would have never said anything to me. I probably would have never been a track coach, but it's because of her. She's the one that got me back out there, and she showed me that I can do it.
You know what? I'm just going to let this chapter leave with a smile. I just want you to tell us how happy you were when you were able to take those 2 kids and taking them home. Bring us through that moment.
Oh, well, the first time we thought our son was coming home. And they put you in this room. So me and my husband go in the room, and you're supposed to stay in there for the night with the child. And my son, again, was the one that was really having the problems, but he gained enough weight where there was a possibility he can come home. So we're in that room, and I'm like, I slept I didn't go to sleep at all that night. I just remember I just kept putting my finger there next to his nose to see if he's breathing, and trying to get him to eat. And so the next morning I was hoping they was going to say, Miss Lindsay, okay, he can go home. And when they told me that he couldn't, I cried. And only thing I can think about was, well, I can just literally take him home. I mean, you're going to have to chase me. And I know I just had a C-section, but I would have tucked my baby underneath my shirt and I would have ran home, and took my baby there. I wanted both of them to come home the same time, but it didn't happen that way. So it turned around where Christina came home first, and then Christian came home. And it was a lot of crying moments. It was emotional. I wanted to go and just go to the NICU, put the babies in a bag and just leave. You know, I just knew that they would be better with me. But they were in a good place. The NICU was absolutely amazing. And that's a part of depression as well. It's like, I wasn't thinking about what could happen if I did take them out of NICU. You know, only thing I can think about was those are my babies and they're supposed to go home with me. I can't leave them there. And having the NICU call you on your phone and you see NICU come up and you're like, please, Lord, don't let this be anything horrible or bad. And we had some of those calls, but we got through them. And it put something on my heart that I'm never going to I don't think I'll ever let go of, because it's going to keep me where I am. It's going to make me stronger. It's going to keep me pushing, because I worked hard to make sure that my twins came home, and they came home. So I think it was right before December that they got home. They came home, I think the first week of December or something. Yeah, something about that, about December. And they got to about 4 pounds, 6 ounces, 4 pounds, 8 ounces. And that's when I decided to go into another passion and another drive. And I said, well, on top of, knowing I accomplished this, me and my husband, we accomplished this. Look what we did. We got a 4-year-old son and we have these beautiful twins here. We went into the March of Dimes. We formed we call it the A team. That was like our little slogan as a family, that, there was nothing that was going to, hold us down. We were going to just go out there and just do it. And we did the March of Dimes, and just look at the picture of my babies when they were in NICU to where they were at that time during the March of Dimes. I'm like, wow, they really came a long way. And I'm sorry if I seem like I'm gazing, but I'm thinking about their growth, that growth that happened between NICU and when they came home.
Yeah.
It was something to see. I wish it would have slowed down so I could have really enjoyed it, but they grew so fast and their personalities started to show, and they made me smile. And when I started doing the coaching, and my husband was like, Marla, is okay, I got the babies. Are you sure you got them? Do you know what to do? You take one and one got to go to sleep at 15 minutes, make sure the other one eats at 15. But, he knew what to do, and he knew that track made me feel good. So it was like I was going to therapy while I was raising 2 beautiful kids. My 4-year-old son, I made sure that he was very much a part of his brothers and sisters' progression. And he did a fantastic job with that. And he still does a fantastic job with that. So all praise to God, and all praise to the fact that I had that will and that desire to keep doing what I love, and that's coaching. And it was the kids, coaching those kids and getting them to the next level. I was like, if I can get you there, I know I can get the next one there. And that's where that's where my foundation started, my kids, and then coaching the younger generation, and going from there, it just started growing. So this tree hasn't stopped. You can best believe. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
Great. And amen. To God be the glory. And what I want you to do with this bonus question that Ian would say is that we just want you to tell us how old your kids are now, so the viewers see that, guess what, God is amazing. And also, I give you the chance to shout out to those NICU nurse, what you would have told them, what you probably didn't get to tell them. Then just give them a shout out. All the nurses out there.
Oh my God, all those I love those NICU nurses. Miss Teresa was our favorite. We loved her to death. She was amazing. Our twins are 10 now. And my daughter, she runs, which is awesome. But my son can run too. But my daughter's going to be the one, I think, that's going to take it there. And they're just, it's just amazing. You just have to see it for yourself. It's beautiful. I see it every day in my child when I train or when I come up with a program. And if someone asks me, well, can you train me today, coach? And can you make me faster? I said, I can't make you faster. That's genetics. I said, but what I can do is I can prepare you to run your best, and what you know with that knowledge, we'll see what goes from there. And the same tools that I give my daughter, going back to the beginning of our conversation, I said that I race boys. And I told my daughter, I said, in order to be great, sometimes you got to race those boys. And I said, can you beat a boy? She said, yes, I can. And I said, so always have that mentality to all that girls can beat boys. We have beat boys, and we're continuing to beat boys. So, you know, y'all might as well get out the way, because we're coming up. Women are coming up, and you're going to see more women coaches. You're going to see more women coaches that are mothers, that have NICU kids, and, you know, are probably numerous of things. But we're coming up, and it's going to be, or what we're going to need is the support of the men to help us move up. And if we don't have your support, then we can't get past postpartum depression. We can't get past, oh, do we have to make sure our kids eat today? Have they gotten a bath? Did we pay this? We pay that? We need you. And I implore so many men all the time, please pay attention to your wives and what they're going through during that period of time, in any pregnancy, single or multiple. So that's where my strength definitely came from.
Well, I just want to say, you know, your story is amazing. The journey is amazing. I'm just going to turn you back over to Ian. But, you know,
Okay.
I know the viewers would have gotten a lot from you just closing in on those two questions there. Back to you, Ian.
Well, I feel like right now to turn it back to you.
He's just back there enjoying this, you know.
Because I'm, you know, it's like I'm in a class right now. You know, I have no clue of you know, of what you guys are I know what you're talking about. I have no experience. I don't know if, and I never heard anyone's experience either.
It's tough, man. It's hard to talk about. It's tough. You know,
It is.
just being there. It's tough for the parents. It's tough for even us as nurses that are trained for this to see it. Man. It's emotional, and it takes it brings you to another level in terms of you got to find that strength to lift yourself above all that is happening around you. Because trust me, you know, it's like the world is crushing in on you. Cause
Yes.
just watching your baby there fighting for life, Ian, it's serious, man. And we got to give it up to these ladies, man, to pull through, to bring forth life into this world. As men, as Marla would say, the ladies, they need us. They need us, man. It is no joke, you know. For us, they go through the pain, they go through everything, the suffering, but you know, even upon birth, when they bring forth life, it's still a struggle. So you know, hats off to you, Marla. You know, we
Thank
love
you.
you, ladies. We appreciate you guys, and I don't know what to say, man. But you know, it is touching. But I'm happy that you found that strength, and I can see now where you get that drive, that passion, because this take you out through that moment. You know, when you were going through it, you went back to your first passion, and that really helped you to get out. So for the ladies, if you're watching, you know, that's another thing. You gotta go back to where you find that smile, the love. You gotta reach back to your passion, you know, because you're gonna need that strength. You can't allow yourself to be down in the moment when your child needs you the most. So wherever you have to go for that strength, you gotta go and find it, you know.
Yeah.
And husband, I just say stay right there with the wives, man, because trust me, they need you more than ever. So we just really thank you for sharing that part of your life with us here on Ian Real Talk. So Ian, we gotta put you back at the steering wheel, man.
All right. Well, as I said, I'm trying to figure out how could we get how can I flow with this conversation right now. You know, but you're
There's
gonna.
light at the end of the tunnel, guys. I mean, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to see it and go for it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I guess, you know, for me, I would like to find out more about what has been And just name me one or two of your biggest accomplishment, being a coach, in your career, to date.
One of my biggest accomplishments is moving up as quickly as I did. I decided to create this roadmap with the help of my mentors to go about it in a way where I was going to be a middle school coach, and I was going to go to high school, and then potentially to college or an elite coach. Alongside that, keep going and growing in USATF. And so one of my biggest accomplishments as being a coach is that I have taken kids that on so many different levels, and I have been able to bring out the best in them that was already there. I was just able to bring it out. I had one parent tell me I didn't know my child could do that, and I just said it's just something I saw there. So to see those type of accomplishments in those kids, and now they're at these Division I schools like Iowa and Winston-Salem State and Purdue. I mean, it's just amazing just to sit back and look back and like, God, I coached that kid, and it's amazing. That was a great accomplishment. And then being appointed as a intern coach for the women's program at Guilford College, where I'm at now. I'm actually the assistant coach there now. The accomplishment there was learning Division III. Coming from a Division I program and being a Division I athlete is hard, but that conversion was a good conversion because I was determined to, I guess, to solidify why my programs work so well. I was meticulous about every program I put together. I didn't make one program to fit everyone because not everybody wears a size 9. We all wear different shoes. So that challenged me there, but it also, the success from it is every season I had the top 5 school records, or I had some great performances out of my kids. One of my jumpers, my triple jumper and long jumper, he got on the podium his junior year, and that was amazing, to get on that podium. Division III, small school like Guilford, and Guilford is a great community, and I love it. But those kids, man, they just love it. They eat whatever you tell them as long as they trust in you. And if they not, like I tell them all the time, if you trust me, we're going to get there. So that's the biggest accomplishment, is knowing that I got a lot of kids on that record book, and they achieved a time or a distance that they didn't think they was ever going to make, or they overcame a injury. So to me, that's a big thing. And at Guilford, I was acknowledged for being a difference maker. And that's just not being a coach, but being more than a coach. You have to also be a mentor and someone for the kid to listen to. So I received that award from the students because I was that kind of coach. And I will never forget that. And I'm going to cherish that award for the rest of my life. And while coaching, it got back home, and they finally made it official. I got my ring. So the Hall of Fame, even though it was already on there, I got my ring. So I got my Hall of Fame, and many more to come after that. But my job is not done. I still have a lot more things to do. And the next is we got to get more people on the podium, and we need to win that ODAT championship one day. And that is going to happen.
All right, awesome. So what I want to add, there was a 2-part question. So on the flip side of that question, you were sharing your biggest accomplishment. Is there any disappointment along your way that you would like to share with us, if there's any?
Yeah, there's a lot of disappointment. The lack of, I would say, a lack of support And that's where we're lacking in track and field right now. I think we all experiencing this where, especially for African American women, and, we want to be in the same position as our counterparts, but it's difficult because we want to uplift each other, but we're also going for the same job. And that's really hard. And to be realistic, people can say whatever they want to say and it sounds really good, but they really don't. If they really want to help you, they can help you. And I've done that. And I did have one situation where I was like, God, I wish I could take that back. But you know what? I learned from it. And I said, it's not going to happen again. It made me wiser going forward. But I just wish I had more people that were truly there to help me grow versus just putting me in a position and expecting me to do it all. We all need someone to help us through it. I'm not asking for you to give me a roadmap, but I sure would like to hear your story, because your stories, there could be something in there that could help me. And that's something that I felt that was lacking on my side. My male counterparts were helpful. I'm not going to say in my city they were helpful. Those guys were trying to beat me at everything. And I had no care in the world for how they felt. I believe that your wins and your losses show up on paper. So ink don't bleed. So that's how it was for me. I just wish that we just had more people to help us get to that next level in this progression that we're going through. And especially now with COVID, it's even more prevalent that we have more mentors and mentees out there that want to share their story and be open and be transparent, because transparency is not where it should be. They got this kind of a rice paper mentality, and I need to see right through you. And I hope that people will look at me and like, I don't mind telling you the gut truth. I mean, I know where I came from. I had a chance. I had an opportunity. And I lost that opportunity because I didn't follow through. And that's no fault of my own. It's just my fault. I did that. My opportunities to move to the next level is, if I didn't get there, it's because I didn't get there, not because somebody didn't get me there. So I don't mind helping, pushing people come up. Push, and find someone that believes in you. And Ian, going back to you, when I first met you, when I did the first track meet for Powerade, remember? It was the Olympiad season. And I just got the position as the women's chair for North Carolina USATF. So that means I had to put that meet on. And I felt like I got jumped into that meet because I didn't know what to do really. But then my natural instinct was, Marla, use the people around you. And I remember, Ian, you saying to me, Marla, I'm going to pray on it. And you came. And Coach Williams was there. Carter was there. There was so many people that was there. And we had such a great turnout. And once my engine started going, I was like moving. And my husband was like, you are like a light switch. When you're mom, you're mom. But when you're coach, I tell people, do not talk to Marla. And I love that part of it. So I'm glad that I was jumped in. And I'm kind of glad that, they gave it to me that way, because I had to learn my way. And as I got better in my position, I definitely didn't forget about the people that helped me get there. So like our president and so many friends. Kente was helping me. Kenny, there's just so many people to name. And they just helped me out and kept me focused and said, Marla, you're good at this. You got something, so you got to keep going. And that's why I kept moving on, being an official, being on the board at USATF. And I hope that one day I'll get to take the water bottles at an Olympic event, and give somebody some water. I don't care. I just want to be an Olympic coach one day and be that example for my child, so she can look at me and say, Mom, God, you did all of that? Yes, I did all of that.
All right, awesome. Well, just to add into what you were saying early on regarding, when, back then when, I was running and, I really thought that I really see you as a veteran. You look very experienced. I couldn't tell that
Thank
you
you.
were yeah, you were just thrown into this, and and you were just so you're very confident, and as I said, you got the leadership skills and the leadership qualities. So during that time, as I said, all of those leadership qualities were shown in your work. So
Thank you.
I would just say that you keep on the same track. I mean, you've been winning races, you've been competing, you've been overcoming obstacles. It's the same thing in the real world, in the real life. And you
Exactly.
just continue to do those things, and I mean, you're already on the winning path. So just don't want to add that onto what you're saying. And
Thank
then
you.
just a follow-up question to you wanted to be an Olympic coach. I feel like it'll be a good time for me to ask you to share some of your short-term goal as a coach, your coaching goals, short-term and long-term. You want to just give it all, give us all.
But definitely, well, I can tell you this, that I'm a loyal person, so I believe in residual loyalty. So my loyalty right now is at the college that I'm at, and is mostly to those kids that I coach. So I want to be a better coach for them. So that means every day I'm changing a program, I'm creating something, or I'm reading something, or I'm getting a gold nugget from somebody. And I take those gold nuggets that they give me and I apply it to what I'm trying to do, and I just keep moving. Al Davis used to tell me all the time, he used to say, Marla, look, you put on a track meet and we haven't had a meeting, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, but he always kept me cool and said, keep moving, Marla. So if I keep doing what I'm doing, and if I keep being meticulous in my program designs, and my Bible, this is what it is. It really started with this Bible right here. I mean, I've written program after program, and what worked and what didn't work, tweaked where I need to tweak. And I hope that one day I will definitely get selected to be on a Pan Am team or be the assistant manager. I don't care. I just want that experience because of my past experiences. I didn't get to be there as an athlete, but I definitely want to be there in some capacity. Or hey, you never know, I might be one of the officials, as Bob Tice was saying. I got so many options, but I'm not going to stop. I haven't stopped. So I took on that forever learning mentality, and I'm going to keep moving with it. And I thank North Carolina USATF's organization too for being so patient and supportive of me and my growth. That's what's going to make me be a better athlete. I mean, a better coach, a better mentor, a better mom. Oh God, it's just so many things. It all ties in together. And my long-term goal is to get on one of those teams, potentially continue to keep lecturing, because I started working with Steve McGill with this hurdle camp. I did my clinicianing for the first time last year with Coach Metters, with S to F, and I did long jump there, and I found out that I actually loved it. I really love lecturing. I love talking about the pros and cons and how to be the best at your discipline, and how to go about it and think about it, and understanding that it is an IQ that you have to develop when you become a great athlete. So I want to be that person. So my long-term goal is I want to be in higher education, but continue to keep motivating women, uplifting women. And if it's me being a old lady still coaching at 89 years old, then let's so be it, you know. But I definitely want to be the one that's saying that Marla's always been just straight up. She smiles all the time. A lot of people can't say that they see me not smile. And behind this smile can be frustration and anger, but I'm not going to let you see that. And it's going to help me grow and make me feel better. And I hope it makes you feel better to see the smile on my face, because the smile is genuine.
All right. Well, we want to give a big shout out to all the student athletes at Guilford College right now. You know, you got a fabulous coach. She's dedicated, passionate, and loyal. So just knowing that, you know, coach got your back. And just gonna move into my bonus question, just to ask you a little bit about your team, your college right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell us a little bit. I know it's a Division III program. Do you guys offer scholarship? Do you offer full scholarship, partial scholarship? Do you recruit internationally? What would it take for you to get noticed to, if someone want to attend Guilford? What would be the process?
Well, the first thing I would tell you to do is stay on top of your academics. Guilford College is a Division III, so that means we don't have scholarship money, but we will award you based off of your merit. So that means this right here. Remember, I talked about that IQ. So if you have that, and you have a will to and the desire to be great at it, and you can be a student athlete, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because Division I, we know, is always the opposite. You're the athlete and then the student. They really do push the student athlete, that you're a student first, academics is everything. If you want me to see you, trust me, I'm going to find out about you. And I want to see something in you, that leadership quality that you don't always see. You know, there's kids out there that, well, I ran track in college, but I never was really that good because I didn't have this or that. But once you come to Guilford, do we have what you need? Do you want the small liberal arts environment? And when they come to see the campus and they see the community that Greensboro is, because Greensboro is a beautiful community, surrounded by many different universities, I'm like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of Guilford? Why wouldn't you want to be in the ODAC? Why wouldn't you want to be coached by me? So we have great coaches there, great students, great faculty, an amazing department over there at Guilford College. So if they go to Guilford College or guilford.edu and look at what we have there, and look into the athletics department and give me a ring, I will love to hear from you, because we are a great program. We have a new director, and he's amazing as well. And we want the kid that just wants to graduate and learn, but not only that, participate in a sport that is competitive, because we're going to make you a sharper person, a sharper athlete, and a sharper student, because it's hard to juggle the two.
Amen, 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 amen. All right, over to you, Ian.
Hey, Marla, as I listen to you, speak, basically I say I love your energy, your positivity, and your ability to overcome. At any point, do you believe that God has just handpicked you for this career path based on your ability to overcome and just the ability to lead?
I do. I think that I had to go through the challenges, the ups and downs. And I'm glad that I went through those challenges, because they taught me how to get better. So every time I failed, I looked at it and I said, okay, first attempt at learning, move on to the next. And it definitely made me a stronger individual and a stronger coach, a stronger woman, because I can say the things that most women don't want to talk about. When we were talking about depression earlier, I mean, when I don't feed myself, and when I say feed myself, feeding myself is watching my kids grow, giving them what they need. But when it comes to the track components, is putting together programs that is going to be successful. So if my kid is in my program and he's not getting better, then I failed. So at the end of the day, I just feel like I'm going to keep growing. And the kids around me, if they trust in me and believe enough in me, they're going to grow as well. If you don't, I can't help. I can't make you drink the water. You're right. So just be confident enough to just trust in your coaches. Parents, sit back and enjoy your child's, experiences, and be there to hold their hand when they say, Mom, I want to do this, but it's a little hard. Well, life is hard, but it's going to make you stronger at the end of the day. And I try to say that on so many levels, that it's all about just getting better. But remember that integrity is learned from your experiences, and my experiences made who I am today.
Okay. I see your journey, and I know you've been through it, but as I said, it makes you stronger. But looking back, if you were, say, to have an out-of-body experience, and you were to just basically hold over and look back at your life, and the journey that get you to where you are today, is there anything you would have changed?
I used to have this thing where I say, what would I do, or what would I have said to my younger self? And there is that situation. The moment where I lost from my team in that relay. When you're the pop-off leg, you shouldn't make those mistakes. And I wish I never, if I could go back, I would have probably said, Marla, get that award out your head. It's all about right now. It's about this race. And I would definitely change that moment in time. And secondly, in college, even though we were very, very, very successful, I could have done so much more, because I think that's why my coach just has a bald head now, because he had to deal with me. I made sure I didn't show up for practice on Mondays, but definitely I would go back and say, girl, get up and go to practice. Go to prehab, go to rehab. I was always in the weight room. That was never a problem. But definitely I could have made it to the Olympics if I would have just worked hard, or I could have just reached a goal that I probably was like, oh my God, I didn't know I could do that, So I had misses, and I had those great ones, but the misses made me stronger. But yeah, the highs and lows. Some you try not to think about because you want to leave them back there. That was what it was for me. I just say a letter to my younger self, Marla, be vigilant. Think about that time where you was in that relay and you was the pop-off leg, and that stick never got around the track. And what would I have done differently? And I learned a lot from that one moment, because it wasn't about walking away with 2 Covenant awards. It was about the fact that I didn't get my team that first place that we deserved.
All right, thank you. Another tricky little question here, and I gotta be 2 in 1. So going back, I realize, as all of us in life, something that live on with us, it's like if we could have gone back and just changed that 1 minute, that one moment, that one time, but guess what? We can't go back in time and do it.
No.
But one thing that this platform offer is that we allow each individual that comes on here also the opportunity to just say the instant that really it lives on with you. But if you were to go back and say any of your teammates is on here watching, or they should ever hear this interview, what would you want to say to them on that day?
I would want to say to them that especially my college teammates, that I should have shown you what I was capable of and what was innate in me, and I gave you only half of me. So that's not being a very good teammate. So I want to say that to them, and I want to say that to the future athletes out there too, that you are a part of a team. So don't give half of yourself. Don't ever do that and put yourself in that position. And that's where I was. I really wish I can change that. Getting the rings and everything is great, but I could have done so much more. And I really let my team down in a lot of ways.
All right. Well, the good thing they're listening and they know that wasn't done intentional. And all of us have that moment. We see even the great Usain Bolt jump out the block before time. So,
Yeah.
happened to the best of us, So, it's understandable what happened. And at the moment, like I said, Ian and Ian. Okay. That's my little baby. She jumped in here. She liked to jump in. So another question which will help you also to free the heart, free the mind, and not sure, but along your life's journey, had anyone hurt you in any way that probably when you look back and say, man, that person really had hurt me back then, but you just still want to use this platform to just openly say, hey, I forgive you guys. No hard feeling, anything that have happened in your life that you probably have carried with you for a while too.
Well, of course, when I decided to be a track coach here in Guilford County, it was hard. Those guys were not going to give me any recognition, and not that I was seeking it, but they gave me more reasons to want to quit, and I'm glad I didn't listen to them, because I wouldn't be where I am now. So thank you for being the hater that you was, or you probably still are. But I'm going to continue to keep moving forward and just keep watching me shine, because I'm not done. I'm not done, and I forgave you a long time ago. And I think that if someone is watching and they know that they were one of those people, please know that I know that you did what you did, but you made me stronger. So keep doing whatever you're doing, because it's helping me grow. Thank you.
Well said. And another thing, as I said, we bring on people here to inspire others. Whether it be in the workplace or would it be just on the field, like you would have experienced all these things. We know there are a lot of ladies out there who, in the workplace, they basically have similar situation, that someone may just think that you don't belong here. This is not your field, which we have no right to say those things. We you can basically put a limit on someone's ability and what they can accomplish, but yet still in our human self, we may say, or we look at somebody and like, you don't belong here. This is not your field. This is not your path. And many of the ladies, they have faced that in the workplace, that men don't look at them equally. Like, they're capable of doing such job. And not just in your case, but we have seen this right across the board, right across, and basically most of the jobs that, people used to look at, it's like it's only man could be the CEO of this, only men could do this, even only a man could be the president or so forth. What would you say to those ladies that, hear people tell them these things?
That we can beat men and be strong. And it's about this smile. We're not aggressive. We're not bitchy. We are women. We're strong. Just like if a man can go out here and do all this, whatever, we can do the same exact thing and come out with probably even a better product. So don't ever diminish my ability, because I'm going to keep shining. Okay, so when I'm in a situation where there's a male that is going to make me or try to make me feel inferior, he's good luck with that. That's all I can say, because I do not entertain it. I do what I do, and what's on paper proves how good I'm at. So I tell women now, just, you know, if you come across a man that just doesn't want to give you that chance, or they don't feel that you have that chance, that's just their opinion. But what did you do on paper? Did you do this? Did you make this happen? Then you're doing your job. And that's my attitude. I don't care about all these big old accolades. I don't want people going around saying, oh, well, Marla's this and Marla. No, I just want you to be like, now, that's a hard worker right there, and she's loyal. If you need to talk to her, she's approachable because she's transparent. And, you know, we don't always have to show our everything about us, because women are, we're very, we're kind of hard to understand, because from a man's standpoint, it's like, I can't expect you guys to experience what we experience, because you can't, right? Just like I can't experience what you experience. But one thing I do know what we can do is that you can help lift us up. You can say, you know what? Well, come over, sit over here with me, because we're talking about blah, 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 blah. This is going to help you in this next job that may be coming for you. So if we work like that, then we're going to be something amazing. And females, we need to get together more. We need to uplift each other more. I know we're going for the same jobs, but you know what? That one job and the 10 of us going for it, if we all just work together and say, you know what, sis, get that job, go get it, lift each other up, tell us something that we need to hear, and the next job will open up for you, and we'll be fine. And you men, you're a little bit slower than we are. Just to make you laugh.
I get it. Okay. I'm here now.
You know how you men can be. But
no, my wife is in the background, and I tell people she's everything. Without her, there wouldn't be a me. I own it. You know?
Right. We gave birth to you. I mean, so we are the vessel. We hold the knowledge. I mean, Proverbs says a lot about how the worthiness of the woman, right? So we have a lot to give, and there's no right for any man to say that we're not capable of doing something. Because when I was 7 years old and my cousin said, I need you to go and raise such and such, and I'm going to give you a nickel. And I'm like, yeah, he's taller and bigger than me, but I beat him. It wasn't because he was a guy, he was bigger and all that. It was just like, I'm sorry, I'm just competitive. I don't care if he is a guy. So if you want to say what my motto is, girls beat guys. And we have just as much as you have. You may go over a higher hurdle than me, but I guarantee if I practice, I can go over that 42 too. All right. So that's just my little motto in life, is that I beat boys, and I raised my daughter that way. She beats boys. So we never take it any other way than that. We just beat boys.
I just want to say that, you know, today is the first I'm basically meeting you. Never before now. First talking to you. And I just want to say, I'll say it again. I love the energy. And I really like the fact that you're open person. As you say, you just say it as it is. You're transparent, you know. And I say you're a powerful voice for ladies. You know, and I wish more ladies could be like you. And if they can't be like you, join force with you. Because, you know, I know you'll have your foundation and everything. There's a lot of work for you guys to do as women and collectively. You know, there's a lot to do. So I say to some of the ladies who are here, you're probably not as outspoken as Marla. But I say, guess what? Just join force with her. Find out how you guys could work better to even make your position in the work field, you know, being looked at, you know, as, guess what? You deserve it, and you're good at what you do, you know. So thank you very much for sharing again. Ian, back to you.
Yeah, you're right. We are deserving. If you work for it, you are deserving of it. Yeah. No, thank you.
All right, Marla. So now that we're on that agenda, I'm interested to know right now your strength as a coach, and you could just you could just give us three of your, in any order, your, you know, just as a coach that know what it takes and know how to that always beating boys, and just give us three of your strengths, excluding beating boys. We don't want that one.
You don't want that anymore. I'm sorry. That's number one. Number two, understanding your weaknesses is something that I want to put in there. Understanding your weaknesses. And three, be a forever learner. And that comes in so many different contexts. Oh my gosh, is that you have to believe that you have to be a forever learner, because even to this day, I don't know it all, but I have learned so much over a short period of time, and I got so much more to learn, and I cannot wait. So be boys.
Understand your
I mean, like that's number one, and being that forever learner, and that we are worthy of it. So that's pretty much all I have to say, is just keep doing it, and just hope I can get more females out there that's just as strong. And there's a lot of them, and y'all got something to work against, because there's going to be a come up, and it's going to be beautiful, and y'all going to be proud of, especially women of color in this position of being a track coach and moving from being an athlete. Y'all going to be really proud of us, and I hope that you're there to look up and say, you know what, look at my sister. She made it, and that you have something to do with that.
Excellent. So moving along, as I said, top three strengths: beating boys, understand your weakness, and just want to get that for the record. Forever learning.
Yes, understanding your weakness.
Yeah. So
forever learning.
All right. So my moving on to the next question is so as a coach, as a female coach, and as a mother of three, what are some of the challenges if you were supposed to talk to another young coach that going to get into the coaching field, and obviously you wanted to encourage them and to share some of the challenges that they may come across just being a mother and being a female coach? What are some of the challenges, and what would you want to say to that young female coach that's looking to be coaching for a career?
Well, if you're young and you want to be in collegiate coaching, definitely plan out how your family dynamic is going to be. For me, my family was already made up, so I had to work within those confines. So I would definitely say think about it first, because your child is going to need you. There's going to be sick days. There's going to be out of school. There's going to be COVID-19 and things like that. Whoever thought this was going to happen. So that can limit you on some of the opportunities that you do want to do. But that's when you also need to be creative and create your own opportunities. So that means think outside of the box. What can you do as a mother of three that is married, that has to cook and clean and take care of a home, as a wife should do and as a mother should be, but also still provide for your athletes. So learning how to say no is very important too, because trust me, on the youth side, the parents are going to want you to train at Saturdays and Sundays and Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you got a child's recital on a Tuesday. So sometimes it's more important to say no than say yes. And they must understand why, because you do have a dual role. And before you decide to bring on a family and grow like that, understand, are you in the place where you want to be? Are you willing to move to a bigger job? And I've had those conversations where I had an opportunity, and it was more important for me to stay here because my family is here, my kids are young, and this is their friends. You just can't uproot them like that. So that was definitely a hard decision to make, but I understood that this is what I wanted to do at this age and at this time. So for all young females, definitely think about, do you have a husband that's supportive of you making these moves? Because you can be at a Division I and be there for 2 seasons, and it wasn't a great season, and you have to pick up and move again. That's not something or ideal for a family, to be a stable environment, I would say. I know a lot of coaches that have done it, and they had the means, but for us, when you don't have family close by, it's very difficult. So definitely think about, how you're going to make those moves, if those moves has to be made, and know that you have a partner, which is your husband. He has to understand as well what your passion is, just like what his passion is, because you're two both bringing up each other, and be supportive of whatever we decide to do. So I say this to a lot of mentees that I talk to. I'm like, if you're going to have kids and you're going to have a husband, make sure he's on board. Definitely on board.
All right, awesome. So that moved me along to your philosophy into part of your coaching. I want to talk about your strength and condition. Um, what's your coaching philosophy regarding strength and condition? If you're specific in that area, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, the strength and conditioning, I prefer that it will be from a strength and conditioning coach. But from an athlete standpoint, I'm always going to look at it that way. In a way that, well, being the coach, I'm always going to look at it as an athlete. That if you're going to train and condition, especially in the weight room, there's a time and place to do that. We shouldn't start too early. Can't start too late. But when you're in there working out, don't do stuff that you see on YouTube. I am not a fan of YouTube like that. I like watching movies on YouTube and some funny little shows, whatever. But I don't think that me watching another athlete work out is going to make me a better athlete like them. Like, there's no way I'm a Gail Devers. There's no way I'm a FloJo. So when it comes to strength and conditioning, I try to make sure it's always holistic and make sure that the kids are going to be safe. So that means I'm going to train the soft tissue. I'm going to train the muscles. I'm going to train the ligaments and the tendons, because all of those things are very important to build a great athlete. So my conditioning is about learning sprint mechanics right off the bat, introduce some body weight conditioning, and then going into lifting a bar, because anybody can pick up a bar and lift it, but are you doing it properly? Because I do look at longevity over everything. So that's a part of my holistic approach to coaching, is that I'm going to sit back and I'm going to see what is going to fit you best. Okay, so if I got Joe over here and I got Jeff over here, and Jeff is not as strong as Joe, I'm definitely going to change up my workout. And I've kind of worked on that over the years, and I became very good at it, where I can just change in the middle if I need to. If I see that there's wrong, if they're not lifting or squatting properly, then I'm going to have to take it all back. So we're going to go back to the mechanics, back to the basics, and build up again. So that's something that I definitely try to make sure that my kids are not hurt after a strength and conditioning phase in our program. I want them sound and strong. So we have to do it the right way.
All right, awesome. Well, that's that's an excellent answer, and it's definitely you hit it on the spot. My next question before I put you over to Ian would be how important it is how important it is about teaching your athletes mental coaching, just to talk with them about the mental part of how to prepare and not to get psyched out or get too excited, and all that. How do you go about doing that? I know a lot of coaches doesn't do that. So, where they might just have a day where you just, you have them all meet, or, some coaches might do it after practice, but what's your philosophy on the mental coaching?
Well, I definitely take it back from being a college athlete. My coach, he was an amazing coach, Danny Williamson at Western Carolina. He was amazing, but he coached all the girls like he coached the guys. So that empathy wasn't there. But what I do now is I definitely, they tend to call me Coach Mom, and I tell them I understand that part of it, but I also want you to take me seriously. So when I talk to them and they say, Coach, I had a really bad meet and it didn't go off right, and I got the video and I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and I said, okay, so let's look at it. Let's analyze it for a moment. You tell me what you saw went wrong, and then I'll tell you what I see. And then we're going to leave that alone, and we're going to work to get it right, but we're going to work on getting better. So could you please let that one bad race or that one bad jump, that's behind us now. We got to move forward. And everybody knows that I'm a big jump coach. So I believe in every jump matters. So if you're a left foot jumper and it happens to be on the right, you better jump your butt off, because you can't leave any jumps on the board. I don't believe in scratches. So that's a big deal for me. And I just tell them, just go in there and just do your job. When you get psyched out, it's going to happen. It happened to me at the Florida Relays. I tell them about how it was a Jamaican lady that came over to me in the 100-meter dash. And she said that, oh, I'm going to beat you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she freaked me out. She got in my head, So you have to go in there with a mentality that, zone everybody out, do your job.
Okay.
So I try to teach them that very early. And some are good at it, some aren't. But then that's when you have to go over to them sometimes, and you probably do have to give them that hug and say, you know what, you had a bad race, but the next race is going to be better. And if they already gone, then, we just have to kind of vamp back up for the next meet, because, mentally, injury can just like I said, injury can take you out. Fouling out of a jump can mess you up a little bit too. Hitting hurdles. I mean, we can go on and on. Relays, the baton not getting all the way around. COVID happening. I just try to tell them that we just got to take it and move forward, and learn from that experience. And trust me, I was watching, so I know what to work on next time when we have practice. So we're not going to gravitate and linger on what happened at that meet. We're going to talk about what we're going to do at the next meet. So it's like just continuing to move forward, because we can't keep our looking back behind us and saying, God, no, we can't do that. So we take the little side mirrors off the truck, if you want to say, and we just move forward and let the past stay in the past.
Awesome. Well said. Well said. Well said. Excellent. Over to you, Ian Thomas.
Okay, Coach Mom, let's go down that road now. I know we've been on the coaching for a long while, so now I'm gonna go to coaching at home, and I would just want you to take a few little minutes and just tell us about your lovely kids there, individually, their characteristic, and what it takes for mommy to deal with it. I know each kid comes with a different characteristic, maybe even the twin that you have, that you may realize that they're not the same. They're probably different. So tell us.
No, they're all very different. Yeah, they're all very different. My 14-year-old son, he's very tall, which we know he's 14, size 14 shoe, 6'2".
Wow.
And he did some track and he threw and everything. He was very successful at it. I don't believe in participation medals. I'm sorry, everyone. I just don't believe in them. But I taught him very early that we just don't do that. We work hard, and you get the medal if you did the work to get that. At 14, he's going to model himself off of someone else versus myself. So I'm okay with that. My daughter, on the other hand, because she's a female, and two, I saw it in her because I saw myself in her. The coach mom is a little different. Well, a lot different. I control her competitions. I control how much stimulus I give her. I control her mental game as far as like giving her cues, just for things for her to think about, just so she can have good experiences at a meet, even if it's a bad one. And she had one bad meet I think it was the year before last, and she went up an age group, and she was the youngest in the age group, and all the girls were taller than her, and she was like, "Mom," and I was like, "Does that bother you? Because you've been running against high school girls ever since I can remember." So she still runs, just keep going at it. And I get a little excited, and then I have to kind of sort of remove myself from the situation because the coach in me wants to do something and put my hand in there. And then the mom wants to scream and yell and get her. I got to kind of watch that part. And my son, her twin brother, he has really taken a love for football and singing. So when he plays football, I say, "Hun, get mommy like 10 flags when you're playing flag football." When he gets the 10, he'll look at me and say, "Mom, I got the 10." And so now he goes back to having fun. He gets the job done and he goes on. So being a coach mom is hard. Other people touching my kids is a hard thing to do too, because you want to make sure whoever coaches your child is going to give your kid you want to plant them in good soil. Does that make sense? I want to plant them in good soil, and that tribe is very important. So I'm not just going to put them anywhere, because it can be that one bad coach. And I did have a young lady that came to me like that. She had a bad coach, and it was really hard to get her out of that mindset. So I don't want to ever do that to someone else.
Okay. Still on the family line. I just want you also to take the time out again. Shout out to Daddy at home. Let us know the role that Daddy play when Daddy is at home and Mommy got to go on the track.
Daddy is he is my biggest supporter. God, he's the yin to my yang. I mean, he does everything. Literally, he does. And he doesn't care. If his daughter asks him to put on a tutu, he will do that. Sometimes I feel bad that he has to do that when I'm in season, but he understands my passion, so he supports it. And he never complains. So he's he's one of those few good men. So hats off to him, especially dealing with me. Hats off to him. He's an awesome man.
Good. It's good when a wife can come out and say that much about.
Yeah, he's definitely amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the fact that you guys have a balance, because I was gonna ask you about balance between coaching and kids and everything, but I don't need to go down that line, because you have somebody with you who basically understand the role and know what you do as career, and at the same time you're still being a mother, but he allow you to do just that. And when it's his time to be mommy and daddy, he be mommy and daddy without any complaint. And that is good when you can find such an individual to share your life with. And that is really good for kids overall in terms of the foundation that you lay for them, especially at a tender age. So I'm really proud of you, proud of your family, and just want to give thumbs up, and we hope that everyone could find such a love or such relationship. But we know that's not life. But I just say to everyone on here that just know that, guess what? The timing. Sometimes it's all about the timing. And if it's not your time yet, don't give up. Your time, your breakthrough is about to come. So just hang on in there. So, I just want to thank you for basically being an inspiration for all the mothers, especially anybody that come on here tonight and listen to this broadcast later, you would have been such an inspiration for them. And also for your athletes, I see, you're more than just a coach. You're a mentor, and also for your fellow teammates. We can see that if they had just taken one thing from you, just your positive energy, they would have taken something good. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna turn you back over to Ian here, but just really proud of you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this is coming down to my second to last and my last question. you know, just gonna touch on one question regarding your coaching and one regarding I really want to go back to trying to figure out which one I want to make last. But I guess I just ask about the coaching first. So what's the most difficult part of being a coach? I know that you're passionate about it and you love doing it, and you're good at it. But what's the most difficult part that I don't. It could be traveling, leaving your kids. It could be just you know different just different experience. What
Yeah.
you'd like to share with us about what's the most difficult part.
The most difficult part of being a coach is definitely, as from a mother's standpoint, leaving my family, but in the career, a very, very difficult thing is proving to your male counterpart that you are more than capable of doing the job. And they're coming in and they already prejudge you without asking you. So you have to show them how great you are. I actually had this said to me, I didn't know you was a great coach until I actually seen it. Well, you watched it, you saw it, and that's something that I find myself doing all the time. It's very difficult to debunk certain people's perceptions of what they think you are. So that can be very difficult as well. But that's leaving my family, and that is the hardest part.
All right, excellent. And my last question for you for tonight, just want to go back to something that you talked about in the beginning of the program, which was your grandfather, your grandfather. So if your grandfather was able to watch it, was watching the program tonight, he was here, for everything that he have done, all the life lesson that he have taught you, what would you want to say to him?
Thank you. He died in a car accident, so he didn't get to really experience the college side of it. But I always say thank you 100 times over, because the days that I didn't want to go to practice and he made me go, I thank him a lot for that. I don't want to forget this person. My uncle, he was actually a sprinter and jumper, and he went to Harvard. And I always wanted to run against him. And if it wasn't for him too, I probably wouldn't be where I am. But yeah, I would just say thank you over and over again. And I think that if my grandfather was still alive, I probably would have been a lot further along in my career, just because of what he was able to infuse in me. But I think he did a hell of a job for the time that he was here.
All right. Well, grandfather, do you want to? You mind sharing his name with us?
His Reverend William Owen Hyman Sr. And actually, he was from one of the first 100 African American Marines, and he received the Congressional Medal of Honor. So my grandfather is something. He's pretty big when it comes in. To me, he's a giant, and nobody can come close to him other than my husband. So my grandfather was everything.
All right, grandfather. We hope you rest in peace. Well, we know you're resting in peace, and you know,
Yes.
and just want to say again and again and again that we really appreciate you spending the last 2 hours with us, and we really just want to thank you from the bottom of our heart to just really share some of your stories, with us, from being a mother, being a coach, being through your journey, many chapters, birth of your kids. And, so, just want to thank you so much. Really appreciate that. And we definitely looking forward to, follow your story. We know you're going to great places. So we definitely expected, or we want you to come back on the program, when you go places. We love to hear it again. So
Thank you. Thank you for
all
giving me
right,
this platform to talk about it. Thank you so much.
yeah. So any
Means a
final
lot.
words, Ian?
Yeah, well, I just want to say, I really appreciate you coming on here, Marla Lindsay. Thank you for the knowledge that you have brought to the platform. Thank you for the inspiration and the motivation. And just thank you for sharing your story with us, your journey, the challenges. And I just, before you go, I think I just want to let you have the last say in that, given that you have your journey, your story, the experience, the knowledge that you have gained over all these years to today's date. I just ask you to speak into somebody's life who are going through some form of challenge, whether it be just simple COVID, but we realize this has affected the world. But somebody who may be just going through some sort of challenge tonight, could you speak into their life for a minute?
I would just tell them that your challenges is going to make you much stronger going forward. Without challenges, you're not going to progress. So embrace these challenges because God already written your book. Your book has been written the day that you was born, and we're just living through the pages and the chapters. So just keep going. And when you feel like you needed to stop for a moment, stop and bring it all back together. And with COVID, mental health is very, very important. We need to talk more about that. And it's just a part of this is a part of God's, plan. This is our chapter and we're going to get past it. So find that person that you can talk to. If it's not your husband, then your girlfriend or your pastor or a mentor in your neighborhood or where you was raised. I don't know, but just find someone that you can just spill out how you feel, because if you don't, you hold it all in, you're going to just blow up, and it's not a good thing. And so definitely women, just be strong and know that this is just only a chapter in the book. We're going to get to the next, and we're going to get there, because trust me, God didn't make us flawless, but he definitely said, you know what, you're going to go through these things, but I want to see how you're going to overcome them. So if that means writing it down in your little Bible, like I have mine right here, where every day I write something different, then they need to do that. I mean, journaling helps me a lot. Having my girlfriend nights helps me. So push forward, and challenges makes you better because you're going to overcome them.
And that said, the rain is falling on my side, and I just want to say that this too shall pass. So, COVID or
Yes.
no COVID, it shall pass. So, just dig deep for your best self. Embrace yourself for greatness. Thank you for being on the program,
Thank
Marla
you.
Lindsay.
It was great meeting you, and Ian. Thank you. Thank you for this great platform to talk about everything. It is absolutely amazing.
All right, we appreciate it, and as I said, we want to say the final thank you to you for lending us your time and sharing your story with us. And as I said, our goal is to inspire and someone somewhere, that may be inspired, or just maybe going through some downtime, or just share your testimony that someone else could just see that. You know, she went through that, and you know, she is you know, on the path now of you know, being successful. So we're just so happy for that. Every single one of us have a story, and the Lord wants us to share our story with others. The Lord just don't want us to keep it to ourselves and say, hey, I'm not gonna tell anybody, you know. So that's what God wants for us. And you know, I'm just happy that, you know, you know, we can, you know, share, have a platform that we could, you know, just, you know, it's open for, you know, anyone to come on here and just share their story, a living testimony of what their life has been through, and nobody can't tell your story better than you. So we get it live and direct, and we got it original.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't forget, go vote. Go vote.
Yeah.
Exercise that right.
Exercise that right, please.
Yeah.
All right. God bless you both. And thank you so much again.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care.